Welcome to CBC Windsor News at 6. I'm Meg Roberts. Thanks so much for spending part of your evening with us tonight. We have more details about the plans that were nixed for the former Grace Hospital site. Council has agreed to not move forward with the Global Village development. Plus, the city is trying to come up with on-street parking options for electric vehicles. That's for residents who don't have driveways. And the Unemployed Help Center is recording a 64% increase in the amount of people visiting the food bank this year. We have more details on that. We're learning more about why Windsor City Council decided to kill the deal to develop the former Grace Hospital site. According to some councillors, developer Fairmount Properties was simply taking too long.
It's a project that certainly we want to see through, but unfortunately, it wasn't moving in the timelines that we wanted to see. You know, time is of the essence. The administration is well aware. Council made it very clear that we want to get moving as fast as possible. Housing is, in my view, the number one priority in our community right now. We want to move faster and we want to get this project off the ground.
The 6-acre site on University Avenue at Crawford has been vacant for the past 10 years. The old hospital structure was demolished in 2013. Fairmount Properties announced in 2020 their plans to create a village of residential and commercial buildings. The Ohio-based firm did not respond to CBC's request for comment on council's decision. Councillor Costante says the city is seeking new proposals, but this time more prescriptive timelines will be part of the requirements. Sinclair College had a non-binding agreement with Fairmount Properties for student housing at the site. They're calling the cancellation of the deal unexpected.
Oh, we were surprised, to be honest with you. We thought we were close to a really unique project, and you know, we've done a lot of development here at the college. So until the shovel's in the ground, it's not in the ground, if you know what I mean. We were surprised.
Windsor will build the next generation of electric vehicles, but is the city ready to help homeowners charge those cars? The CBC's Chris Ensing with a look at options as city staff work on solutions for an oncoming problem.
Is your neighborhood about to become overrun by extension cords on people's front yards? That's a question that one councillor in Windsor had for city staff as there's this push towards electric vehicles. He's wondering, what do people without a driveway or a garage do to charge their vehicles? And what is the city supposed to do to help them out? Experts say that Windsor isn't alone in trying to find a solution to this, but it is something that needs to be looked at proactively.
We would need to start solving this problem yesterday. And the reason I say that, Chris, is you know, the government of Canada is developing regulations which will require that all new passenger cars be zero emissions by 2035.
And the shift is happening across Windsor, Essex. More than 2,100 electric or plug-in hybrid vehicles are registered to homes in this region. That's up by 500 vehicles since last year. There are dozens of electric vehicle chargers like this one here spread across Windsor, Essex, but studies show people who own these vehicles or are thinking of buying them want to charge it overnight, and they want to do that at home. Toronto ran a pilot project in 2020, putting chargers like these at streets downtown and in residential neighborhoods. They cost $2 an hour to charge between 7 and 8 p.m. with a $3 flat rate overnight. The city says it's a big success. They plan to have 100 in operation by the end of the year, but each one costs $20,000 to install. Vancouver launched a similar pilot but made residents pay for it.
We found that it was actually quite administratively burdensome and costly for the homeowner, so there wasn't actually very much uptake for it. So that pilot program was sunsetted, and we kind of focused on different options.
One of those options, that's right, extension cords. They license cord covers to get people charged out front, but warn it may not work in Windsor because of snow clearing. One thing experts would like to see cities do, change regulations so new builds anticipate EV charging needs.
The city of Toronto has since required that all new residential developments be 100% EV ready for all parking spots. It's a great way to future-proof any new development and make sure that we can minimize the number of buildings that need to get retrofitted, because that's a really expensive task.
One councillor I spoke with said that they're thinking about pushing for a policy that's similar to that here in Windsor. In the meantime, city staff are considering options on how to move forward, while also looking at ways to install more chargers like these in city-owned parking garages and parking lots. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Windsor.
A local food bank says it's seen a 64% increase this year in the number of people using the food bank. The Unemployed Help Center is sounding the alarm today. As the CBC's TJ Deer explains, they have less food with a growing number of people who need it.
Lines like these are now the norm at food banks across Windsor-Essex. One food bank client, a father of two who's unemployed, says without having access to the food bank, he'd have to make some tough decisions.
It'd be a lot of struggle, for sure, 100%. Without the food banks being around, I probably wouldn't be able to feed the kids I have and myself.
Inside, the full scope of the problem was presented. Over the past year, according to the CEO of the UHC Hub of Opportunities, 9,000 new clients accessed a food bank in Windsor-Essex, a 64% increase from the year before. This comes as supply is decreasing.
People that perhaps were donating before might be needing to use a food bank, or perhaps their grocery bills are higher, so they're having less to donate.
Even the local health unit is noticing problems. As part of their yearly report on food insecurity in Windsor-Essex, they found that an average family of four spent more than $260 a week on groceries, which works out to more than $1,100 a month, an 8.7% increase from last year. A dietitian with the health unit says their findings didn't come as a surprise.
We have been hit pretty hard overall with a variety of different things, job losses over the years, high housing costs. And so Windsor-Essex does tend to have a little bit higher of an unemployment rate, which, you know, income is one of the biggest drivers of food insecurity.
A representative of Feed Ontario was in Windsor today as part of a tour to deliver their findings in person at food banks across the province. Part of the tour was also used to promote this interactive tool, which allows users to live the life of a fictional food bank user, forcing them to make difficult decisions on how to spend their money. These two players said the stressful nature of the simulation forced them to think about the choices food bank users have to make and what impact those decisions could have on someone's mental health. Feed Ontario's communications manager says while food banks are working hard to serve their clients, it's not a solution to food insecurity or poverty.
It's only through strong public policies that we can ensure every Ontarian has access to all of their basic needs each month. To put it another way, poverty is a policy choice, and our government is the only one who can make meaningful change.
CBC News is awaiting comment from the province. TJ Deer, CBC News, Windsor.
Join CBC Windsor to help the UHC Hub of Opportunities this holiday to make the season kind for our neighbors in need. For more information, you can go to cbc.ca/Windsor Sauce. We are getting closer and closer to our special broadcast of CBC Windsor News at 6. This Friday will be our annual Sounds of the Season show. You can join us at the University of Windsor School of Creative Arts to watch us put on this show live. That's at the old Armories building. You can swing by between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. And don't forget to bring a canned good to support those in need. The flags in front of Polytechnique Montreal are flying at half-mast today as the school pays tribute on the anniversary of the 1989 massacre. On this day 34 years ago, 14 young women were murdered in a mass shooting targeting women on campus. It was Canada's deadliest mass shooting at the time. Representatives from the school and student associations wore white ribbons today and laid wreaths on the commemorative plaque at the school. University of Windsor Women's Center also holding a vigil on campus this morning.
December 6, 1989, exactly 34 years ago today, 12 engineering students, 1 nursing student, and 1 faculty member at L'École Polytechnique in Montreal were murdered in cold blood by a man who believed there was no place for women in science and technology.
This is my second year putting together this memorial, and it's always
really hard to do, but it's something that I recognize is necessary, and I'm really glad that the university takes the time to recognize it. 34 years ago feels like a lifetime away, especially for someone as young as I am at the moment. But I see in the news every day that women are not safe. Gun violence is not going away, and I feel a personal responsibility as the generation that will be eventually kind of creating the laws around gun violence and around protecting women and marginalized communities. So I feel a personal responsibility to keep that conversation going because it's still happening in our backyards today.
The Bank of Canada is standing pat on its trend-setting interest rate, holding it at 5%. It's the third time in a row the bank has held the rate steady. It says there's encouraging evidence that higher rates are restraining spending and helping bringing down inflation. Canada's economic growth has slowed considerably over the past year, and inflation is now running at 3.1%. The bank says it is willing to continue rate hikes if inflation moves up again. Analysts, though, widely expect it will start lowering rates as early as next spring. The high cost of living may be driving more people to shop at secondhand stores in Windsor. And while inflation isn't helping, in this case, there could be an upside. Dale Molnar reports.
You might get a bargain, things that you can't buy or they just can't buy anywhere else today.
Kathy DeRosier is deciding to shop at the Habitat Restore at this time of the year, and she's not alone. The store has noticed an increase in business lately.
I would say that we're probably having a higher customer volume this year as compared to last year.
The store can't say for sure why the boost. Maybe it's the marketing they've been doing, or maybe it's the high cost of shopping for new things. But it's the same story over at the St. Vincent de Paul Society Shop resale stores. The manager of the Catholic organization says business is up 25%.
We try to keep our prices as low as we can to help support the community. We have items that are more expensive, but that's because we've been fortunate to have new designer items donated to us, but that helps support our programs.
When the sales at these thrift stores increase, it gives them more money so that they, in turn, can help other people in need. And there's been an increase in that, too.
And a lot of calls coming in for people in need who need vouchers to get the things they need at our stores. I couldn't give you an exact number on vouchers, but I'm going to tell you they're like very high. We also have a lot of refugees, so we deal with a lot of the refugees who come in as well. You can certainly see the state that we are currently in our economy with the rising prices of groceries, of fuel, heating homes. I mean, affordable housing is a huge issue.
The increase in sales at the Habitat Restore also means they have more money to help those in need as well. The more money they bring in, the more houses they can build.
Every sale supports the construction of affordable homes, and we're doing 5 houses per year, finishing one in Fort City right now. We have 2 more under construction in Sandwichtown, so we're investing heavily in the community.
Lovell and Winger also say the busier the stores are, the more people they can hire to work there. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
If you're noticing the cold weather, tomorrow is going to be a nice break. We have your full weather forecast coming up after the break. The holiday season has begun for many across the country, and a lot of people are heading out to buy their Christmas trees. So our colleagues in Alberta talked to an expert to get some advice on buying the perfect one.
Hi everyone, I'm Aaron Greguluk here at Greenland Garden Center, and here are 5 things to keep in mind when choosing your Christmas tree. Number 1, why do trees cost so much? As you can see here, prices vary depending on species and sizes. First thing, the grower has to grow these trees. Some of these trees are 4 to 5 years old, some are even 10 to 12 years old, so that will all factor into the price. The other big one for us is transportation. Getting the trees to your location is a big cost that's incurred. Number 2, when is the best time to buy your tree? That all depends on where you are, your location, and what's available. These days, with what seems to be a shortage out there and high demand, I would say the sooner you can buy your tree, the better. Trees are usually gone by the 1st to 2nd week of December. By December 10th, there's not a lot of selection out there. Number 3, which is the right tree for you? We prefer the fir trees. They hold their needles really well. They have a good smell to them. Douglas fir would be your most economical tree. Has the strongest scent that's available, but the branches are a little weaker. Nordman fir is more like your traditional artificial tree. Individual branches, strong branches, nice silver undertone, green shiny top. And then noble fir is a very full tree. You can't see the trunk at all, but still has those individual branches that are easy to hang your ornaments or heavy decorations on. Number 4, what should you do when you bring your tree home? First thing, transportation. If you've had it cut at the place you bought it, we can cut it here for you. Don't get that cut dirty. Don't scrape it on the ground. Don't get any dirt into that cut area. Once you get it home, if it hasn't been cut, you need to do your own fresh cut and put it in water within a couple hours. That can either be in the stand inside your house or in a garage in a bucket of water. Number 5, how can you keep that tree alive for as long as possible? If you can lower your room temperature, that's great. Obviously, stay comfortable, but if you can lower it, that's great. Extra humidity. If you had a humidifier, if you can bump up the humidity in your house a little, that will help as well. Keep it away from fans, keep it away from drafts, close the register near it. All those things will help. So you put it in the house. How can you keep that thing going? Water, water, water. That's the biggest tip. Most people can get a good 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks inside their house with their tree. If you have to hit a certain day like New Year's Day or Ukrainian Christmas or whatever day is important to you, scale that back about 4 weeks, and I think that's a safe time to bring that tree in the house. And after Christmas, what should you do with that Christmas tree? If you're out in the country or if you compost, you could definitely remove the limbs and try to compost it. It may take a little bit of time. Otherwise, your municipality, they usually have scheduled days for pickup of those trees.
It's the end of an era for world soccer. Christine Sinclair played her final match for Canada last night, and tens of thousands of fans were there to pay tribute to the soccer legend. BC Place was renamed Christine Sinclair Place for last night. Sinclair and the squad walked up to the stadium on foot, and the fans were loving it. Plenty of cheers and red and white attire, a roaring home crowd out to honor the all-time top scorer in history. With 190 international goals, she beats out Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Colette, such a bittersweet moment, kind of makes me a little emotional watching that. I remember watching Christine Sinclair as a kid, and she really had the ability to change the mindset of an entire generation of female athletes.
Yeah, I wondered with your soccer pedigree if she was somebody who inspired you and kind of took you on your journey.
Yeah, myself and my teammates, we would watch, all of her games and record how many goals she scored, and just seeing somebody of that magnitude on televisions and commercials and all that, it was, always a great opportunity for us.
Yeah, I did watch last night as well. She's so humble, and the interview her teammate, is it LaGrassa, or you would probably know, but did with her was excellent. Like, it was one of the best things I've seen, just to hear her talk about her legacy.
Yeah, very, very humble. Now, I'm assuming No soccer weather in the forecast?
Not exactly. I mean, I've got some mild temperatures, though. Let's just dig in here and show you what's going on. Mild to the west of us, and this is making its way in. I know it's not quite here yet, but that is pushing eastward and going to be coming into our skies in terms of what we'll be dealing with. So for now, the temperatures 0 to 2 degrees, but we'll find it dip a little bit maybe as we head towards midnight, and then the temperature is kind of going to be steady or even coming up a bit as we go towards morning. So that's with this frontal boundary moving towards us. So wind's not really anything to speak of at the moment, but that will change, although it will be brief. So the winds will be picking up overnight into tomorrow morning. Some of those gusts exceeding 40 kilometers an hour. I know you see it here over 50. Yes, that is possible. But then by the time we get to even the lunch hour, that kind of backs off, and they'll be more moderate in terms of what we'll be seeing. So there's to the north of us where we're starting to catch some of the action. And because the main component of this is to the north, as it's tracking eastward, we're only on the fringes. So a few little flurries or kind of flurries mixing with a light rain shower in here. Certainly overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, we have that chance. It remains after that through the day, but so much slimmer as this primarily moves away and most of it stays to the north. We get into the warmer sector, and with any luck, maybe even getting some sun coming in for the second half of the day as things are really drying out. Then into Friday, I do anticipate some of that cloud cover coming back in, mixing with the clouds, but really important for sounds of the season, for things going on Friday, that it does look like it's going to be dry and one of the best days of the next few. So there are those overnight temperatures, how they're going to be a little bit, down and then up towards tomorrow morning, already up towards 3-4 degrees. So into the afternoon, we warm up from there to 7. With any luck, the sun will help push us there. Then Friday, double digits, yes, well above seasonal. Saturday as well, but then, and I know this makes it look like the whole weekend is wet and terrible, but it's really that we get into some light scattered showers Saturday, and then as the temperature falls Sunday, more of that chance for some mixing, Meg.
Colette, I spoke too soon. Those are soccer temperatures. I've definitely played soccer in those kind of temperatures.
Okay, well then there you have it. Shows you the soccer player I am. I'm a fan though, so that works.
Yeah, it might be a little wet out there, but yeah, we can deal with 10, 12 degrees. Thanks so much for that, Colette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, if you're interested in space, you're going to like a story we have coming up. CBC News has learned that the federal government will unveil its long-awaited oil and gas emissions cap framework tomorrow. David Thurton is in Ottawa with some of the early details.
The Liberals have been promising to get a handle on the oil and gas sector's emissions for years, promising to release a framework to cap its pollution by the end of this year. Tomorrow, Canadians will get to see what's inside that plan. The proposed cap will drive down emissions and not production. According to a source not authorized to speak publicly, it will be enforced through a cap and trade system, a system that would allow companies to buy and trade a limited number of emissions allowances or permits. The number of those permits could decline over time to reflect the emissions cap.
Certainly, we have been working on this for quite some time. I think we have developed something that actually methodologically is very logical, and actually I think Canadians will understand and appreciate.
Tomorrow's framework comes as the UN Climate Summit COP28 is underway in Dubai, where countries are pledging to limit emissions and global warming. We don't yet know how much imposing an oil and gas cap will reduce the oil and gas sector's emissions. We should find that number out tomorrow. Also, we have to wait for the actual regulations. That will be tabled by the spring or summer of next year, which may not give the Liberals much time to implement them before the next election. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
A huge immersive documentary exploring past and future missions to the moon is opening in London, England. Moonwalkers, A Journey with Tom Hanks is co-written and narrated by the actor.
In the 50,000 years of human history, just 12 of us have traveled from our Earth to walk on another celestial body.
It uses a high-tech blend of archive film footage, drawings, animation, and digitally remastered photographs. The show tells the story of the Apollo program from the first moon landing in 1969 through to 1972. Hanks portrayed astronaut Jim Lovell in the film Apollo 13 about NASA's failed lunar mission in 1970. Swifties now have another big reason to celebrate. Taylor Swift has been named Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2023. It's been a complete love story for her this year, and the U.S. superstar's influence has reached new heights. Her Eras concert tour is on track to become the highest-grossing tour of all time. She's also put out a concert movie for the tour with AMC that gave the theater chain its highest single-day ticket sales in history. Swift has re-released 2 more albums in her songbook this year as well, Speak Now and 1989, both Taylor's version. That's it for CBC Windsor News. Don't forget, for news anytime, you can go to our website. Thanks so much for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night.